Hey guys, it's Imagine Trying, and I'm here with another solo Lost Sector video. So today we're going to be doing Concealed Void. Now, I kind of have a special relationship with this particular Master Lost Sector because it was actually the very first Master Lost Sector I did. And I actually memed around with it with Titan's Rampant and a Hardlight the very first time I did this back in Season of the Chosen. I was able to kind of get through it. But I'm going to let you guys know that this is arguably one of the, if not the hardest Lost Sector to do, just because of the amount of shields you have to deal with, the placement of enemies, and just a lot of the environmental hazards that exist in this Lost Sector. Also, I wanted to apologize for not being on the last couple of days, or not putting out any videos in the last couple of days. I have been doing a lot of the new 30th anniversary stuff. I haven't gotten everything yet, and I haven't gotten the Forerunner yet. But when I do, watch out for a review video, because I'm going to be reviewing that along with the Gjallarhorn. I'll also be live streaming with my boyfriend the new dungeon. I haven't touched it yet because he has had problems at work. So he hasn't really had the time to join me to do that dungeon. But anyway, so obviously Ariana's Vow would be incredibly useful in this Master Lost Sector, but we're not going to use Ariana's Vow. I feel like I've been kind of abusing it a little bit too much, because it's so good at anything with Overload or Barrier, or anything with Barrier champions. So I kind of wanted to mix things up, and so Arbalest actually got an update this season, during the 30th anniversary, and it now has anti-barrier properties, which is really nice because it does come with shield disruption. So that was something that a lot of people in the community were talking about, why it was weird that it had disruption break, but it didn't have anti-barrier. So now it has anti-barrier. Obviously, I don't have the catalyst for it. In fact, Arbalest was one of my lowest light weapons. I have not touched it since I got it in Season of the Hunt 3 seasons ago. And then we're also going to pair that up with my Tyranny of Heaven. Now I'm going to let you guys know that Tyranny of Heaven, I believe, can be gained through cheesing chests in Last Wish. But I'm going to let you guys know too that Tyranny of Heaven is arguably one of the worst bows in the game. It is, of course, a lightweight frame, but it takes forever to draw compared to other bows. I don't care that it says draw quickly and move faster. It does not draw quickly. It draws really slow. You can put on a reload mod, which should make it a little bit better, but it's such a freaking pain to use that I was like, you know what? It's a bad bow. What better way to prove that these Master Lost Sectors can be done with bad weapons than using a Tyranny of Heaven? And you do want to have a solar weapon when you're doing this, because there are large shanks in this that have shields. The arc shield is actually not really much of a problem, to my knowledge. I don't know which enemies have arc shield, but it's never caused me any problems. The only thing you really need is solar and void. I will be using my threaded needle, of course, with linear fusion / fusion scavenger and 2 linear fusion ammo finders. And this actually has the funny side effect of giving Arbalest a lot of ammo. When I was doing these runs, I was barely getting anything for threaded needle, but I was constantly topped off on my Arbalest. Now obviously, again, I could be using Ariana's Vow with my Whispering Slab, and that would actually make this Lost Sector a lot easier, but I decided, hey, why not mix things up? And I'm going to be on my Titan, because again, I like Titan. I could cheese this with Warlock. Warlock is really good in this Lost Sector as well. Hunter does okay. I think Hunter's one of the worst for this Lost Sector because of how congested everything is and the enemy placements, but Titan isn't too bad. I'm also going to be running it with my Dune Marchers. I could be using my Titans, which is what I used last time, and I kind of used that as a joke, but it still managed to do really well last time I did it. But we're going to use Dune Marchers again, even though it's really not going to come in handy because, again, of how congested everything is. But it shouldn't be too bad. No, when we spawn in right away, there will be enemies, and you're going to see just how bad Tyranny of Heaven is. I should let you guys know this is a PvP God-rolled Tyranny of Heaven, and even in PvP, it is super bad. Even with the swap method, it is monstrously bad because of how slow it reloads and fires. I haven't tested it with the reload mod before, but we're going to go ahead and see if that improves it a little bit. But this thing can do a lot of damage. It's way more like... It's difficult to explain. It is a lightweight, but it hits really hard, but it loads really slow. So I'll show you guys. Look how long that takes to draw down. Way slower than the Whispering Slab. Now, it is going to one-shot, headshot most of these enemies. Oh, when we already got an Overload champion. Sometimes he spawns out here, which is best case scenario. Sometimes he hides back here with this freaking barrier servitor. And you can crouch down here, a little cheeky spot to get a couple of these enemies. I'm going to go ahead and try to kill him with my threaded needle. And we don't have the Void Singe, so it is going to take a few shots to kill him. Most of the time it'll take about 4 shots, and there we go. So we have this barrier champion here, and this barrier champion is the worst in this Lost Sector. Easily the worst. Because he hides a lot. See, there he goes. And he just surrounds himself with all of these shanks that you just cannot do anything against. So the first thing you want to do is you want to be looking over here, and you want to try to get the small enemies that hang out over here, because these guys are way more dangerous than the shanks. And it's already got me a little low, so I'm going to wait, and there should be, I think there's one more over there. Yep, there is. And I got him. Oh, and the champion is teleporting on me. But he's in a good spot now. Sometimes he'll teleport downwards, which is where he does like to hang out. Oh, and the other thing too with Arbalest I should mention is that Arbalest has really bad magazine and really bad reload. So most of the time you're not going to be able to kill a barrier champion with all 5 rounds, but you can swap over to your heavy and cheat it a little bit. Now these guys right here, these big shanks, these heavy shanks, they always have solar shields, which is why you want to have a solar weapon. Because without a solar weapon, it takes forever to kill one of these guys. But I'm going to go ahead and just use my bow and take him out, and he's already down. And look at that, there's already some heavy ammo, already got some special ammo. And look at that, I fired a full magazine of Arbalest, and I'm already back up to 20 rounds. Obviously not fully back on my heavy, but close enough. Now we're going to go ahead and go up here, and this is another area that's going to be a little difficult. Now this barrier champion is not too bad. He doesn't usually hide too hard. I'm going to go ahead and just do this. And I'm going to cheat a little bit and bring out my heavy, and I've already taken care of him. Now you do want to back up because there is this overload champion over here, and he can be a bit of a pain in the butt because he's on a tiny platform with 2 other enemies. So the first thing you want to do is you want to come over here and you want to take these guys out, because otherwise they're going to take you out while you're attempting to take out that champion. So you want to go ahead and just take these guys out. Alright, that was easy enough. I went ahead and threw a grenade down there, just takes them out. And you can see up here, we got a bunch of shanks and we've got a bunch of enemies. So that's something else you're going to notice about this Lost Sector, is that a lot of champions surround themselves with a lot of enemies, and that's really what makes them incredibly dangerous. The champions themselves in this Lost Sector are not that hard. They're really close. You can actually use anti-barrier auto rifle in this Lost Sector, and you'll have no issues because of just how close everything is. And like I've said before, I've done this with a hard light like 3 seasons ago when I was significantly less powerful than I am now. So I'm going to go ahead and stun him if I can. And you kind of want to wait till he gets over here. Sometimes he hides behind the little pillar over there. And when he does that, you can either go over there and just stun him and then kill him, or you can wait over here, and a lot of times he'll just peek out of this side over here. And that's going to make him a lot easier to hit. So we're going to go ahead and fly over here. And you do want to get onto this little platform because there are going to be some enemies that are going to push over here on the right side. And you want this, so there's going to be a heavy shank. I'm going to go ahead and just try to take him out. These heavy shanks can be a pain in the butt. Again, you need to be running at least 1 solar weapon because these heavy shanks will just mess you up if you don't. So go ahead and take him out. And as soon as we go over there, there's going to be a sniper and there's going to be an overload champion. Yep, so there he is. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stun that overload champion. And I could have taken him out there, but I'm going to go ahead and just get on this sniper if I can. Please don't kill me. Oh, I already got him. And that explosive head that I've got on this is definitely making this a lot easier. You don't need explosive head, but it is recommended just because of how much damage it does. And of course, I've got Archer's Tempo on this as well. And this champion is another thing I've noticed. He is glitched. So it seems like when you stun him, he'll continue to actually shoot you, even though he's not supposed to be able to. And so you need to watch out for that. And then these guys are going to ambush us. There should be, I think, 4 of them. Oh, I'm slowed. That's the other thing too. These guys drop these grenades, which can make them a lot more deadly, especially if you get trapped in a bunch of them and they surround you. So you do want to kind of just hang out near where you entered in, and you kind of just want to wait. There we go. For them to come to you. You don't want to come back here because you're going to get slowed down and they're going to surround you because they're just kind of all over the place. Over here, we're going to have having exploder shanks, and there's going to be, yep, a barrier champion, and there's going to be an overload champion. And these guys are going to try to tag team you, and they can be a pain in the ass. The lucky thing is that the barrier servitor tends to push you forward while the overlord tends to hang back. And as soon as you come over here, there's going to be more that are going to spawn. So you just want to back up, go ahead and hit them with your bow. Yep, take them all out. You don't want to push this Lost Sector a lot. You want to play incredibly passive when you do this Lost Sector because this Lost Sector has a lot of traps and it has a lot of enemies in places that you really wouldn't expect. So I'm going to go ahead and just cheat this a little bit, and I'm just going to use my heavy. And now we have this guy. And he's going to go over there, so I'm going to wait for him to peek out, because he's going to peek out. There he goes. And I'm going to go ahead and just hit him in the head a few times. And this should just take him out. Yep, there we go. And of course, particle deconstruction is pretty much mandatory for doing these lost sectors. It's going to make your Arbalest and your Threaded Needle a lot more potent. And I'm going to go ahead and reload that. And that's the other thing too, is that you don't want to rely on shooting this and then reloading it. If you're kicking out a champion, you want to swap over to heavy, but you can prioritize using this weapon. Now, over here, it's not too bad. There's going to be some small enemies, and a lot of them are going to spawn from over there. So you do want to stay a little bit farther back because you don't want to push these enemies, because they're just going to surround you and they're just going to mess you up, and it's going to be a really bad day. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this heavy ammo here, and I don't need the special ammo. So the boss, oh, there he is. The boss just spawns over here. Now, unlike the other lost sectors, this boss is not a pussy. He's not going to hide behind cover the entire time. He's actually going to push you a lot. So I'm going to recommend, because there are no champions in this encounter, to just go ahead and just use your Arbalest on him. And when you drop him a little bit, there he goes, he's going to start spawning other enemies. Now, these guys spawned with him. I'm going to go ahead and just use my heavy to take him out. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and just back up. So you can use this ledge up here. You do want to stay back. You can use this ledge to get away from the enemies if they're starting to take you out. And you do want to use your Threaded Needle or any kind of void weapon to play distance against the servitors, because they're going to surround themselves with a lot of enemies. And, oh, there you go. See what I mean? He just goes and he pushes you. I'm going to go ahead and just use my super on him. I don't have Caress the Falling Star on, so I'm not going to do a whole lot of damage. And you can tell this guy's got a lot of HP. So if you can bait him over here, it does make things a lot easier. He is obviously going to hide his head, because these guys are a lot smarter in Masters than they are in other stuff. Oh, there we go. So some more enemies have just started spawning. And you want to take out these small enemies first, because it makes the boss a little bit easier. But you always want to make sure that you keep... Oh, there's another one. You want to make sure that you keep your eye on the boss at all times. You want to know where he is, because he will push you. And if he pushes you, he's going to run you down. And then you're going to have to take a death, and it's not going to be very fun. You know, and the great thing too is that a lot of these guys do play distance as well. So you don't really have to worry too much about cover, because they usually stay so far away that they're just completely inaccurate. So he already pushed us. I'm going to go ahead and just back up. I'm going to wait for him to either move forward a bit and hit him in the head, or, yep, okay, so he's going to go ahead and move to the side there. So I'm going to go ahead and just peek down here and just hit him in the head a couple times with my Arbalest. I'm not going to use my heavy, because there are a couple more enemies that are going to spawn, in which your heavy is going to be very, very useful. But because of how much ammo we got from Arbalest at the beginning of this, we could just go ahead and keep using that, and he's down. And there is another servitor over here. So you have two options now. You can either just run up there and grab the thing, which I might just go ahead and end up doing. Oh, try to get his shield back. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. They're gonna get me. So I'm gonna go ahead and just reload. So I'm almost out of special ammo. Not a big deal. Pretty much I can just run over there and grab the chest now. I'm gonna go ahead and just do that. And can we go for a flawless on this? That would be really nice. So I don't need to kill these enemies, but I'm gonna go ahead and just do it, just because why not? You know, sometimes it's not about winning, it's about sending a message. Go ahead and just take you out. And yep, okay, so there's more enemies. So this is the other thing too you have to be careful of in these Master Lost Sectors, is that you don't have a radar. So a lot of times you don't know what enemies are up, where they're at, or how many there are. So you kind of just have to play incredibly safe. So I got him, and if this barrier goes down, it means that you've already killed all the enemies, and some more have spawned. Not good for me. Honestly, what I should have done is just not even killed the last guy. I should have just left him alone and then just gone for the chest. But I can just go ahead and do this. I've still got, what, 6 minutes in this Lost Sector before I get enveloped by darkness, so it's not going to be that big a deal if I waste a little bit of time of just killing these guys. Ooh, how we don't do that. And again, Explosive Head really, really helps for these guys, because it does a lot of extra damage. Oh, and we've gone ahead and done that. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this, and no exotic, but I did just flawless this, so that's pretty nice. So again, this is, in my opinion, one of the hardest Lost Sectors to do, and you do want to do a couple runs before you actually go ahead and complete this. And obviously, I'm using a set it could be better. This isn't like a really, really high level set. This is actually, in my opinion, one of the worst sets I've run for this Lost Sector, outside of using Hard Light. But then I would have to use a lot of other stuff to make it even easier on myself, because Hard Light by itself is just not super viable for this. But anyway, guys, so yep, so that was that's how you solo this Lost Sector. Honestly, if you want to use Arbalest, it's really nice. The only issue people might have is getting a solar bow. Tyranny of Heaven, to my knowledge, is the only one. I'm not sure how many else there are. Actually, I can go ahead and check real quick. and see if there are any others. I don't think so. Is Biting Winds? I thought Biting Winds was. So there's Tyranny of Heaven, which is a solar bow, and then it looks like, yeah, that's it. That's the only solar bow that you can get in this game that's not exotic. Obviously, if you don't have Tyranny of Heaven, you can go ahead and just use Ariana's Bow and whatever kinetic bow you have, because that'll work just fine for this Lost Sector as well. You really just need some kind of solar damage and something to pop barriers, and of course overloads. But yeah, if you don't have one, you don't really need to sweat it. This is honestly a super bad bow. So I don't even recommend going for it and choosing Chest and Last Wish for it, because it's honestly just not even really worth it. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one.